And another big story now, a new and unsettling twist in the story of all those Americans with contaminated water in their homes in West Virginia. Thousands have been told the tap water is once again safe. But tonight, a new warning: pregnant women should not drink it, raising the question, what's the truth about what's in the water?
People are unable to use water for anything. That means no showering, no shaving, no morning coffee, and no idea just how much longer it'll take. The problem began here in a storage tank full of chemicals used to process coal. It leaked into the Elk River, supplying water to the entire region. At first, the water company thought the treatment plant could filter it out, but then learned it hadn't.
Now, something else to keep in mind here is that some of the symptoms that are involved in this, or that authorities are warning residents of, is burning throat, itching hands and arms and skin.
The chemical flowed into the Elk River, contaminating West Virginia's water supply. It continued rushing toward the Ohio River, traveling more than 250 miles to Cincinnati. Tonight, it's closing in on Louisville, Kentucky. Cincinnati closed its river intake valves to protect its water supply. Louisville officials say their filtration system will protect theirs. But in West Virginia, for the 7th night in a row, more than 100,000 people still can't drink their tap water.
Water is a prevalent feature in the state of West Virginia, and certainly some of its most remarkable places are its rivers, conduits of coal and steel, and major economic drivers in terms of industry development.
When I first found out about the water leak, I was actually in Ripley working for the day, and it was on Twitter. I'd just checked briefly, and there was a proclamation from Governor Tomblin that said, do not use the water in Charleston. But it was just kind of a panic thing, thinking that the water is out. There is no water, do not use your water.
And at first, we didn't really know what that meant, and it quickly became clear this was not a boil water advisory. This was something much more serious.
So rivers are a huge, huge component of the West Virginia landscape. We're close to coal, which is the predominant fuel source for those, but also they're lined along the rivers. The rivers are essential in power production and the production of steam that ultimately produces the electricity. It takes about 80 pounds of water for every pound of coal to produce electricity. It's a major, major asset in our state and a resource for a lot of different industrial sectors.
Seeing the infrastructure come into place basically for emergency water rationing was interesting, not only because no one was prepared for it, but also trying to fathom what it was like to be completely cut off, to not have an appropriate supply of drinking water, or to only have to be able to shower in a public space every couple of days if you're lucky.
I was lucky. I had water, but that meant I was sort of ground zero for people who needed showers, who needed to fill up water bottles, for people who just kind of wanted a place where they could get away from the no water situation wherever they were and feel a sense of normalcy for a little bit.
What the chemical spill taught us is that water is extremely valuable, and we just often take it for granted because we have so much of it. What happens here, where we get a lot of rainfall, we take water for granted. We're rarely under water stress in terms of water quantity stress. We just have so much water, and that water has a dilution value to it, so it dilutes our pollution. But what we saw from that chemical spill is that when we don't have water, it creates a serious, serious situation, and not one that's just, oh, environmentalists care about it. Everybody cares about it. Citizens care about it. Businesses care about it. It's wildly important to us, and we see it when we realize it when it's gone.
In short, it was a mess.
Because no one knew how to react. And your gut check when the systems that you rely on every day fail is panic.
Now, what was surprising to me, and I think surprising to a lot of people, was how susceptible that water source was. So the spill occurs on the Elk River. The Elk River is a water source for that area because it's so clean. The cleanest in the East, actually.
A sense of uneasiness, to begin with, because most people understood that it was going to be a while before this really had any sort of conclusion.
This was not handled well, in my opinion, at multiple levels. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact we were in uncharted territory.
And so you see how dependent then we have become as a state on our few really clean, productive water sources like the Elk River.
I don't know that I would say that even still we officially trust the water. We have switched to bottled water, drinking and cooking, and we also have a tabletop distiller in case we can't get to a bottled water supply. So in that, I don't know we'll ever trust the city water system in Charleston again.
As we lose rivers and their value of drinking water and become dependent on very few, then we become very susceptible to something that would seem like to be a localized event. And instead, that localized event, it touched a third of the state, the residents.
Our staff, our reporters, their families, many of them, I think nearly all of them, they lived in apartments and in homes where they didn't have water either. So this was a story that they were covering, but they were also experiencing firsthand.
We have to be protective of that water. So much of our state, so much of our businesses, our economy depends on it. It is not just people who care about the environment. They care about the environment because of its value to the people that live here.